From the subreddit TwoXChromosomes. Does anyone just hate porn now? The older I get, the more I realize how misogynistic porn is, and it turns me off so much. I will cringe watching some shit. There's a way to be kinky and respectful, but I haven't found it yet. Judgment coming in. I used to think people that didn't watch porn were weird and anti-sex, but now I'm starting to get it. If you feel this way, when did it start? I've found some genre/videos that work, but a lot of genres have been ruined for me. The porn industry has always been sketchy, to say the least, but I'm convinced it's just gotten worse and worse over the years. I've seen vintage porn from the 70s, and those films had a whimsicalness to them. Like everyone understood there's an inherent humor to naked people having sex, and they were in on the joke and didn't take things too seriously. Now you go to the big porn websites and it's shit like, teen pussy gets destroyed by huge cock. There's just no joy in any modern porn anymore. The women all look like they're on the verge of crying, and the men have such grim demeanors. And even when it's supposed to be a mostly vanilla scene, there's this atmosphere of violence to it that's just repulsive. You have to wade through so much trash in order to find something actually erotic. It's just not worth it. I pretty much stick to written erotica and hentai nowadays. At least with hentai I know that no one's being trafficked or exploited. I used to be very open to porn. The women are consenting and earning a living, so no harm. Then I got kicked out. Then I ran out of money. Then I realized that sometimes a choice isn't really a choice. I luckily never had to turn to anything due to a loving grandma, but I watched a close friend have two. And then another. And now I'm very against porn. Also, like, written erotica is a thing and is amazing. My attitude about porn has changed a lot in recent years. I think significantly more needs to be done to keep it away from minors, and I would actually support some sort of proper age verification process on porn sites. If creators have to verify their age, it should be the same for consumers. So much mainstream porn is misogynistic, like you said, and we're subconsciously teaching our young men and women that women are little more than talking fleshlights in the bedroom. The ideas and attitudes about sex are becoming warped. I've talked to women who were on the receiving end of surprise anal or a facial without it even being discussed, because that's what the man thought was normal. I used to think the anti-porn people were strange, too, but I honestly kind of get it now. I'm not against porn, but we need to have serious discussions about using it responsibly. I usually read erotica. Easier to find non-creepy erotica than porn. I watch a certain type of porn and I'm super picky when trying to find something I like, so now I just use my imagination. Skeptical. I've talked to several men who act like they're better feminists and people than I am, presenting me as someone who hates women for being against porn precisely because I know most women in porn do not actually enjoy what they do, who then go on to laugh at porn stars they've personally jerked off to when they come out about having been forced, coerced, and manipulated into multiple shoots at worst, and change the subject at best. These filth care about nothing except for their unfettered sexual access to women. Porn irritates the fuck out of me. How obnoxious and male-gazy it is. Sometimes it seems almost primitive. Like the stuff they put on for babies that's just a bunch of colors and noises, except for men it's jiggling asses and breasts and moaning. Plus 99% of porn seems to either directly have female discomfort and pain as a feature or uncomfortable and painful acts disguised as pleasurable. I've seen feminist porn and it's the same shit except slower with more kissing. I stopped bothering. And then I discovered I actually don't need to use porn at all because I can cater to my own female gaze and sexuality in my head. Sex and masturbation delight has increased tenfold when I realized that my pleasure is crucial and that I don't accept any less. I started by thinking of what the female gaze looks like or might be. Imagine heterosexuality without a male audience or the need to perform for them. It'll open your eyes. Yep. Hate porn. It's almost exclusively tailored to male clientele. Had an interesting conversation with a former porn addict. Said porn had ruined his sex life because it conditioned him to only find visual stimuli arousing, and he completely neglected all of the other stimuli during sex, touch, smell, taste, sound, etc., so it wasn't satisfying for either him or his partners. He spent ages undoing all of that conditioning and said sex is way more enjoyable now because sensory overload is more arousing than just seeing. You can see the conditioning in porn, women making eye contact and hamming it up for the camera with their faces. And the cringe-inducing fake moans, as opposed to the genuine ones, that makes you mute that shit. Never liked it or watch it. Woman shrugging, it looks super painful for the woman. I don't get off on that violent stuff. For me, distancing myself from porn started just a few months ago. I always was very porn positive but never found something that I liked. I thought I was the issue. When I started dating someone, he brought the topic of porn up. He told me very early on that he wasn't watching porn and he should also be uncomfortable with me watching porn. I asked him why and he really opened my eyes about the misogyny and abuse. He said the dynamic between the actors usually sickens him. The only watchable porn for him was amateur porn, but that's usually filled with revenge porn. He also avoided that. His arguments made me realize that this was exactly why I never have been able to enjoy porn. I don't think I'll ever be able to go back to watching porn. Any single time I post about not liking porn on Reddit, I get downvoted into oblivion. And #X200B, it's gross AF, I don't care what anyone says. There are so many issues with porn, I really don't get how anyone can overlook them. Porn just keeps getting shadier and shadier. I've never really liked it much because I start thinking about what exactly got this person to this point, etc. But I remember when smacking first became a thing. Now it's progressed to where if they're not forcibly gagging or getting choked out, F porn. Then kids watch it and think that's what they're supposed to be doing. And so on. I still prefer to read my porn. Literotica.com is where I usually got for that. The search function is your friend and advanced search to filter out specific kinks I don't want. I never really saw the appeal of it. Hetero porn is a bunch of ugly dudes with painful looking gigantic cocks, and a woman who is 1,000x hotter than me with a perfect body. Watching it just makes me feel grossed out or insecure. The men in gay porn are usually attractive, but I'm not really into anal, so, yeah. TBH, I don't really need porn to arouse myself. And I understand all of the critiques here too. I wish the business itself was more female positive, hell, more female controlled. What would porn be like if it was actually made for women? The stuff marketed to dudes mainstream is so cringe/gross. Like those titles, Who Wants to Click Dumb Slur Blows Hugh Wieners? Why the need to constantly insult the object of your lust? They're helping you nut, you should be grateful. Ugh, I wish humanity was more sexually liberated. This is why we can't have nice things. I'm so tired of hearing about it. It's ruining my relationship. Porn never appealed to me. I always found porn really gross. I didn't have anything against the industry or people watching it, but personally found it gross. Even nauseating. Partly because the actors are not having a good time, and partly because it was so for men. Like, all the biggest turnoffs for women, or maybe just me, in the bedroom were glorified. Gross. I don't know much about the problems, issues or benefits of the industry, so I won't comment on that. I can't stand porn anymore, especially after I realized that my husband's choice was gang rape porn. No excuses for that. The only porn I watch these days is amateur homemade porn, real couples just going at it, and that's hotter than any mainstream porn emo. I hate porn. So much of it is unethical/trafficked, so much of the ethical features women who don't have many choices. The whole industry is a plague. I love porn because I read it. I pay $130 a year for a subscription to a dirty comic website. I get extremely body positive, queer inclusive porn of a wide variety. I hate the vast majority of real life porn. R/Ersties is great though. I think the problem isn't with porn itself, but the industry and culture surrounding it. It's kind of scary how many people like seeing women in pain. Also, blowjobs are disgusting. I don't like seeing that. I think my favorite category is amateur lesbian because it's just two women doing their thing. It's not like directed by a man or anything like that. But even still, I rarely ever watch it. It's awful. I stopped watching it after high school. Had a college professor point out how juvenile it was and I agreed. However, I like erotica. And I've had a peek of porn recently, and the only thing remotely interesting was amateur girl-on-girl stuff. I prefer a book though. As a hetero dude, all I watch is solo porn. 98% being self-uploaded. Works for me. I've never been into porn. It's exploitative and a bit sad. The only kind of porn I like is the porn parodies of famous IPs. What I've seen is way more respectful to women, and it's really fun. You can tell the people who make it genuinely enjoy the original work. In the X-Files porn, the actors playing Mulder and Scully tenderly declare their love for each other before banging away. Also, they managed to find a dude who looks like a super ripped version of Agent Skinner. Most of it is super toxic. The least toxic is usually amateur couples doing it for fun because it's just people doing it naturally. Most is so awful though it hurts to see. I think there is good porn out there, but you get what you pay for. If you're looking at free sites, they put up stuff that appeal to the lowest common denominator. The typical stuff is awful, but lustery is really nice. Real couples having a good time. Yes, I completely agree. It's hard to find videos I enjoy these days. I love sex. But it has to intimate sex with my partner. And when it comes to porn, I have a tough time finding videos that don't have over-the-top female acting, videos where it looks like the girl is actually enjoying herself, videos where the guy respects the girl in the scene. There's been times where I would immediately close the video if the guy did something that you can tell the girl just went along with because it's porn but didn't like it. Raw intimate couples having sex. That is way hotter to me than mainstream porn. Mainstream has an incredibly dark side to it.